Welcome, beautiful divine masculine and feminine darlings. This is the Seraph M. Gem Gypsy, Seraph A. Indigo Empress, and Shiloh Horizon. I do not plan to be here for too long. But I do have some dream prophecy and a few channels to share. So first and foremost, there was this divine masculine energy who came through and said, sounded like to a karmic, you cannot buy her. Meaning you can't buy her affections, you cannot buy her off, you cannot pay her off, not to be quiet, not to like you if it's not authentic and honest and genuine, if it's not a real connection based on integrity, then she's not interested. If it's not upright, heard. I hear she knows that money is energy and not all money is good money. 122. Meaning that negative energy, right? When you're getting resources from or through a negative person, or let's say it's you're getting money for something corrupt, blood money or something, that money has negative energy attached to it. Meaning chances are the things that you spend that money on are not going to be lasting or stable in your life. Why? Because neither were the finances that you bought them with, bought whatever this was with. Your energy was unstable. How you got those resources were, I'm sure, destabilizing, if not for yourself and others, karmics. So that's the energy behind it. Not stable, not lasting, not good. And guess what? Guess what's going to happen to the things you purchase with that energy, with that money? It's just one form of abundance. But you know what's even more valuable than $1 million? Waking up and having an abundance of oxygen to breathe. Because some people didn't wake up this morning. 2:32. Did you also know that the term "good morning" is actually a reference of people dying? It's why you don't hear me say good morning, like ever, and you hear me say grand rising instead. There's a reason for that. Words matter. Okay, so there's that, first and foremost. Secondarily, I heard Busta Rhymes. Like, Busta Rhymes? Are you telling me this is another French Montana thing? Because I had a dream prophecy a few days ago, and French Montana's name came through it after I kept ignoring it while I was awake, clairaudiently for 2 or 3 days first. Why? Because I don't know who that is. I minded my business. 333. But it turns out, after I Googled what I saw in the dream, that he is in fact connected to P. Diddy. There's some kind of crossover tie between him and P. Diddy. And I woke up this morning saying, don't tell me he's also connected to P. Diddy too. Unsurprisingly, upon a quick Google search, that also seems to be true. And didn't Busta Rhymes, didn't he... Why am I picking up something about Tupac or possibly Biggie? I don't know. But all of that nonsense, that all has to do with Diddy too. He's responsible for a lot of people being hurt or dying. Let me tell you what. 414. And so are the people who helped him and enabled him. They are accessories to his crimes. All of those people who paid for him to get these things accomplished or to cover them up, all of the people who enabled him in doing this, let him do this, helped him do this, whatever he did to those people, whether they were there or not, their choice to assist him in making these dreams, these twisted dreams that he had come true, was no different than them holding down the victims for him. They are accomplices. They chose to be accessories to his crimes. Like the financial advisor who paid off the sex workers, for example, the prostitutes. and the manager who works with people's grimy families to try to back them in the corner so that they can control their life and then steal their money. Those are those are people directly involved. Those are accomplices. 5:22 on the count and 9:22 on the clock here on the East Coast. Now, that's a perfectly timed, perfectly suitable timing, rather, for this reference, because the third round of prophecy that I picked up in this dream, or more specifically this message that came through, was of my husband who died in 2016 rather. And I haven't heard him say this in a long time. Nobody else calls me this, but he called me by a few of the very particular, very sweet, like pet names, nicknames that he always used to call me. 616, as I look down, I'm telling you, that's a message of love, of companionship, of even union. This could be family coming together. This could be twin flames coming together. If there were hostages, I know in my case, my only child has been illegally held hostage. And then people who did it created more lies to cover up the fact that they were breaking the law. They broke more laws to cover up the fact that they were breaking the law, to try to justify bullying me, to try to justify terrorizing me, and then to try to blame me for being upset about it. Nitwits. As if horribly abusing people illegally is normal, but people naturally reacting in trauma is not. These people are delusional. 702. But I can't relate. I heard that. Somebody wants to know what those names are. In some cases, it may be innocent, but there's somebody who wants to know for malicious purposes, and I'm telling you, it's none of your business. 722. But I am telling you that there's love here, and people do not support them. 733. Somebody's asking, well, how? How could they use it for malicious intent? Do you remember what I told you about the trickster spirits these karmics try to send? I've been telling you about it as I've been picking it up either in dream prophecy or just off the cuff raw for a few weeks again. But it came out in the cards yesterday again. Trickster spirit. So when my grandmother died, she never played this song to my recollection when she was alive. But after she died, she kept coming through with this song. And I would periodically say that here. And it wasn't immediately, but after a while, they got this grand idea to try to call on a demon or a dark spirit, demand that it goes my way, like sicking it like a dog trying to, but then commanding it to play whatever song or masquerade itself and try to cloak itself in the energy of one of your ancestors. Why? Because it wants you to listen to the dark spirit thinking it's your ancestor. And this is not a new concept. When you hear Christian people or people who are religious that hate on spiritual people, mediums are bad and this and that, and trickster spirits, yeah, those exist for sure. But so do holy angels. All right? And good ancestors that God has basically given a spiritual hall pass, or even in some cases, whether it be temporary or a more lasting contract, wings for being good, doing their due diligence, and then being good spirit guides, trying to be even better spirit guides than they were people. Elevation. It's not new. I'm not making this up. This is old school, but they're still trying it right now. 922. Or have been, all right? And so, similarly speaking, it's none of your business. Now, have I ever fallen for it? No, for a few reasons. I'll give you two analogies. Let me give you this first example. Let's say it's a grandma, right? A karmic sends a dark energy tells it to try to put grandma's mask on, or a mask that looks like grandma, tells it to try to sound like grandma, tells it to try to play a song that it knows that you know that grandma likes, or that grandma used to, maybe you had this song in common, maybe you listened to it together, and so you've got a core memory or whatever, right? But then, metaphorically speaking, quote unquote, grandma pulls up in the driveway. Okay. Hey, come get in the car, it's grandma. You look at the car, you don't recognize the car. You can tell that's not your grandma, even if it's a mask. It's not a good one anyway. And you know who your grandma is. It's not like you could be confused or easily tricked. All right. But they still try, and they're stupid enough, obviously, to fall for something like that. So they're stupid enough to think other people would too, clearly. It's projection. You don't recognize the car. It's clearly not grandma in the driver's seat. And just because they're playing a song that grandma likes does not mean that it's grandma. It's very evident. So they're so confused as to why they're confused, but they're not even hiding. It's not, it's not confusing. Frankly, I'm psychic, not stupid, and they're just not very smart. Next. So that's one analogy. The second one is, imagine, you know, I've expressed this before, you know, grandma doesn't even come through with that song now because she knows what you're trying to do with it. That's a dead moot point. That's been long since over. You're still beating a dead horse, or trying to, Karmy Karms. And so the second analogy is, imagine that now grandma knows, spiritually speaking, that people are trying to impersonate her, whether it be spiritually speaking, calling demons to try to pretend to be her, to trick a light worker off the path into the dark side. Imagine that song is like a key code, like a password. What's the password? Open up, let me in. What's the passcode? 1222, okay? Except for there's been a security breach, and grandma knows that. So what does grandma do? Change the password. Does she tell the people who tried to steal the password and impersonate her through the process? No. And do you? Absolutely not. Do you go tell people your banking information? No. This is the same. And so they keep trying to break in with what they think is a working security code. And it might have worked at one point for somebody, but not you. And it was long since changed. That's like knowing that a criminal, a crook, a robber, a thief, a murderer, a rapist, somebody bad has the key to your house and deciding, well, I'll just take the risk and not call the locksmith. Or let's say that you have an electronic keypad. That's like knowing that somebody who does not have your best interest at heart has found out what the key code to get through your front door is. 1322. And expecting you not to change it. So they're going up to that keypad lock, entering what they think is the key code, and then they get mad that it doesn't work. You don't think that we changed that a long time ago? Stupid. Can you imagine? And they've been still trying this for months. I've been saying this for months, and they're still trying this. How much time and energy did they waste? They sat here doing all this spell work. It didn't work, did it? You wasted so much time and energy and money. I know some of you tried to buy spiritual practitioners to get on your team. You're stupid. You could have invested that in a therapist, or maybe a couple of extra brain cells. Leave my collective alone. Grand Rising. 1422. Karmic, you bitch. It's Miss That Bitch to you, sir. You little rat. When I took him to court, they let him off with a slap on the wrist. And when it happened again, oh, they tried to pretend. Didn't know that he was dangerous. Well, you can go and fuck yourself. Do you have girls or a mother or daughter who got something to lose? You can go and fuck yourself, 'cause I'm not doing that for you. I also hear yesterday I cried. It must have been relieved to see the softer side. I'm a little bit of everything, all rolled into one. I'm a bitch, I'm a lover, I'm a child, I'm a mother, I'm a sinner, I'm a saint. I do not feel ashamed. I'm your hell, I'm your dream, I'm nothing in between. And no, you wouldn't want me any other way. So take me as I am. That must mean you'll have to be a stronger man. I'm a bitch, I'm a tease, I'm a goddess on my knees. When you hurt and when you suffer. 1622. I'm your angel undercover. I've been dead and I'm revived. Phoenix, you can't say I'm not alive. And no, you wouldn't want me any other way. Next. Mrs. That bitch to you, sir. Let's see, shall we? Here's another theme. I hear money, money, money. Must be funny in a rich man's world. Interesting. Okay. This is actually the message that I picked up this morning. Oh, that's so cool. Okay, that makes sense. 1722. There was an emphasis on money, specifically generating resources for some, and also criminals were trying to cause losses or put people in a bad spot, a hole, a debt that's being balanced out. So you have to do the work, but this is hard work being hard work paying off, and then also opportunities for some kind of work, benefit, success, earning resources, or there's some kind of stability, opportunity for stability here. There's also opportunity for rest here. You have vacation. This is also taking a vacation from these crazy karmic energies and not letting them run your life or make you feel some kind of way just because they're toxic and they want you to be miserable like them. You've got this debt paid here and then unexpected income. So there's been an emphasis on, for some people, saving resources, being mindful of your resources, taking care of what you need to, and being responsible where you need to. If you need to save, then save. But having enough to regenerate, to catch up, to not only get back on your feet, if that's the case, but get past it. It's hitting that break-even point. For those who don't understand what I mean, if you're hitting break-even, it means, let's say that you, random numbers, let's say you start a business and it costs you $100 to start that business, and then you make $100 with that business, you've now broken even. So everything it cost you to start that business, you've made back. And because you've made $100, yes, you did get yourself out of the debt that $100 debt that starting that business cost you. It's a small number, but just for simplicity's sake, often it costs people more than that, not always. But when you lose $100, or you invest, rather, it's not a loss if you're investing and it's for some purpose. You invest $100 into this business and then you make $100 back. Technically you did make $100, but technically you didn't, because you don't have money. If you are in the negative 100 and then you gain 100, you're at zero. You've broken even. So you're not in debt anymore, but you haven't earned anything over that balance point. Once you get to break even, that's all benefit. There's no, okay, I have to send this much of my earnings out to just cover the expenses that it costs to start the business. Once that's done, everything else is profit. Restaurants, for example, it's not very common for a restaurant to start turning a profit. I grew up in a restaurant the first year. And there was one restaurant in town, actually, that did exactly that. This was a really sad story. I think it was it Pure Fries? There was this place in town. They opened up a little French fry shop. They did Doughboys, and actually just within the last 2 years, this candy shop, they make all their own ice cream and chocolate and most of their own candy from scratch. They actually have branches in a number of places around the state, and then I think they've got one in Massachusetts. I think Martha's Vineyard has one. But they have a few scattered all over. However, this is originally a family-owned company. They have a few branches. Everything is scratch made, except for the gummy candies. And then, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but those little tiny round, like wafer thingies, they're made of sugar and they melt in your mouth. And they're often flavored like different things. I don't know if I can figure out what they're called. I think it's those that they don't make also. I can't quite remember. There's something else that they don't make, but almost everything else. Anyway, nonetheless, side point. Except for the emphasis of they make almost everything themselves, which is what the building energy for the light workers are right now. So they recently have put a sign in their window that says that now they sell that too. I've never had anything from there, not that. But when I saw the sign, probably 6 to 12 months ago, I was very excited for them because, well, I bet you that they're good at it. I bet you that it will be good, and I bet you that it will be popular. I bet it will be successful for them because it was so popular for this other place. Not to say that one person can copy another person and have it be successful, but what happened to this place that I believe it was Pure Fries. If it wasn't Pure Fries, then no, it was The Spot. But they did a lot of authentic stuff too. I remember they had a gyro machine. They had this big, tall, like roasting spinner, and they would roast meat on it and then just slice, I think it's a Greek thing. They would slice chunks of it off to make gyros. So basically like Greek tortilla wraps, kind of. I don't think it was Pure Fries. I think it was The Spot. But either way, they launched this business and were so wildly popular that they broke even in the first year. My restaurant family told me this. Very popular. It is almost unheard of for somebody to do that because it costs so much money to start a restaurant, usually at least $100,000 or something, that there's just no way that you make that in the first year. So usually it takes a business a few years of earnings just to make enough to get themselves out of the debt that investing in that business cost them, starting up the business cost them. But this one did not. And this is an emphasis for these karmics, okay? Karmics who try to come here. Come on. Do things to copy other people. What have their issues been? Often sex and drugs and lust and temptations. It's what calls them to do things like this and then be greedy for money in the first place. Money is not the root of all evil. Money is paper. It's murdered tree slices. The love of money, which turns into greed, that is the root of all evil, comparatively speaking. But this place, they made so much money that they broke even that first year, got themselves out of startup debt, and started turning a profit. But the problem was this guy ended up either having or developing a drug addiction. So pretty quickly, even though he was making bank, he was broke. And he couldn't keep up with the business. And then he ended up having to sell, or he ended up selling all of the kitchen equipment piece by piece. And yeah, very sad. break even. I'm still alive, but I'm barely breathing. Praying to a God that you should believe in. Thank you. I've got time and she's got freedom. Oh, when a heart breaks, no, it don't break even. Her best days are some of my worst. She finally met a man who's gonna put her first. While I'm wide awake, she's no trouble sleeping. 'Cause when a heart breaks, no, it don't break even. What am I supposed to do? And the best part of me was always you. What am I supposed to say when I'm all choked up and you're okay? It's a karmic male or a fallen masculine, I would say, feeling like they lost out on a divine feminine, or a karmic female even, although I feel like this is a masculine towards a femme. Upset that she feels like, this could be flipped, I guess. She lost out on a masculine, 26, 22. I'm sending love to everybody who needs it. Please don't give up. Can I get a little bit of advice for the light workers before I do this Reiki? I have some other stuff to do right now, but I wanted to just touch base and set a good tone for the day. I hope everybody has a beautiful Saturday. Raise your words, not your voice. The rain grows flowers, not thunder. Make peace, have empathy, and show kindness. Lightning bolt. That came out in the cards for a few days, actually, and then came out in, I believe, a reading or a reference when I was actually wearing a lightning bolt on my shirt. I looked down and noticed it a few days ago. You are not a drop in the ocean. That is so funny. You are in the entire ocean in a drop. One of the nicknames that I mentioned as pet names that I won't be specifically outlining here has ties to this. Stand out, perspective, bring things together. I also pick up this as a bridging of souls, so a union of souls in some cases. Let's see what we have. I am not the skin. I am not this hair. I am the soul that lives within. Beneath the surface, looks can be deceiving. So these karmic people, I mentioned that, looked like a successful business, that establishment, but it got shut down because he was on drugs. He couldn't maintain or manage. Try something different. Surrender. Don't push too hard and let grace carry you. Exactly. Like I said, don't give up. I'm seeing a bird, but don't fight against the wind. Have you ever looked up at the sky and you see a bird not flapping his wings, but just kind of gliding, and also sometimes spinning in circles? They're not choosing to spin in circles. Eagles and things like that, when they spin in circles, you might think that they're circling as if it's a predatory thing, or they're just having fun, or taking a sky dip. No, they're riding air currents, and the air currents actually do spiral. They, not always, but they do hit points where they spiral like that. So they're riding air currents. What they're doing is sitting on top of that air current. It's kind of like a duck sitting on a stream, and the stream is carrying the duck downstream, so it doesn't have to swim. It's just floating. It's floating on air currents, using its wings as leverage. I just got a flash of Icarus. And it does flap its wings to push itself forward or to find a new air current to ride, but it will rest. So it doesn't always have to be at work. Okay? Just heard high flyer. Life is a balance of holding on and letting go. There it is. Stay steady, go with the flow, and do the right thing. That's how you stay on track. Look for the answer inside your question. Be honest with yourself. You know the truth. I talked about that a few days ago too. The Socratic method of teaching. I often teach this way. It's a Zed Kiel style of teaching. Yeah, and look, be with those who help your being. Like attracts like. Choose friends and associates carefully. This is also family. Soul family. If the light is in your heart, you will always find your way home. Use your intuition. I've been saying that for the last few days too. Big emphasis on that. Return to the past and be your own teacher. So this isn't not necessarily say, yeah, go back to these toxic past people or places. But if you had a project or a dream or a goal, or you were working on something that got targeted, put on the back burner to try to escape and survive karmic abuse of any degree or variety, this is being cleared out. So that you can get back to those things, including yourself. For example, I actually spoke yesterday to a doctor about this. The states of energy for healing are different. The frequencies for healing and trauma are very different. So the let's do some art projects brain frequency is different than the let's try to recover from trauma frequency. And that's different from the I'm experiencing trauma frequency, being put through it, healing from it, and then having the creative spark as a result of healing some from it. They're three separate energies. And in some cases, it's hard to tap into one if you are fighting with the other. That survival mode takes over. Naturally so. It's a normal response. But let's say that you were so busy trying to survive abuse that you didn't even have the time or energy or creative spark to put any kind of ideas to paper, because all of your time and energy was spent in trying to combat these idiots who had no right to be near you or cause problems for you, or in some cases, try to plagiarize your work. Because I've seen that too. I've seen people quit their day jobs to try to start a business full-time, copying my spiritual content, claiming to be what I am and claiming to do what I do. But they're copying my content. This is somebody older than me, 3322. And all the while they're plagiarizing my spiritual content that I'm getting straight from the divine. They're so mad at this. They don't like this truth coming out. Now clear that out. Thank you, God. They're working with people to try to call me crazy for being a medium. How blasphemous is that? I'm going to smear campaign the light worker for as crazy for being a spiritualist because people will buy it. But then I'm going to go copy her content because I actually think it's lucrative and successful and I'm jealous of her. How abusive and monstrous. What's worse is that person quit their day job at the domestic violence center that they were being paid to protect me at, to ally with domestic abusers against me, while they tried to call me crazy for being a medium, and she sat there running a cult, trying to copy me. And often they went to her for help, attacking me. They went to the person trying to copy me for help attacking me. What do you mean? You're trying to get ahead of me, but you're following in my footsteps. How are you? What? What? Make it make sense. You can't, because it doesn't. This same person also followed me over to Instagram. And speaking of my dead husband, thank you. She plagiarized a piece of art that I did for him. It was posted in February because his birthday is in February and he died in December. She copied this art project and then posted it on her own page and was advertising, asking people to come pay her to teach them how to further illegally plagiarize my content. That is a crime. Any money she made off of that is owed to me, and then some for damages and the theft alone. There's retributive justice necessary for that, and there's also restitution that she needs to pay. Fake. She goes around getting cosmetic procedures, fillers, Botox, those fat loss machines and things like that, but then tries to advertise that she's a magic energy healer who can make people lose weight and have facelifts magically. But she doesn't tell people that she's seeing a doctor half an hour, 40-minute drive away. And I know this because the freaking angels, they wouldn't lay off. Even last night, I know that they were on my page because YouTube was forcing those particular advertisements for those particular procedures and those particular machines and those particular fillers and drugs into my feed. My algorithm is set up to send me content that my viewers watch, or advertisements and things that my viewers buy or are interested in. That's how it's set up. So it tells me when they're here, but I already know energetically, and it's just confirmation. However, they would not leave me alone. They would not stop. They've been doing this for years, well over 5, 6 at least, right? So the problem with that so mad. Why are you telling on me? Why are you copying me? This is somebody like twice my age too. Way old enough to know better. If they were a real practitioner, they wouldn't need to copy from me. I'm gonna get you for that. No. You got yourself. I'm so sorry I did that. I don't believe that. I believe they're sorry they got caught. Let's light some sage on this weirdo. This is a witch. Not a good one, but that's what she claims. Light some of this sage really quickly. So the reason that I know about all of this, 3822, is they would not leave me alone. At first, the advertisements or the downloads for the specific type of filler and drug, specifically Juvederm, is one of them that was popping up or has popped up. Sonobello is another one. Cool Sculpting or variations of that is another. And so I knew that. This all came out and they wouldn't stop. It's like because they were exposed a little bit more, they got more anxious. And so in some cases, they started obsessing over me even more. There's love coming through, though, between the twins. There's divine love coming through. This is what they tried to stop. This is a practitioner who tries to claim to be a twin flame also. No such thing. That's false. And after years and years and years of trying to combat me as a witch, as of recently, now this person is trying to pretend to be a God person and talk about God as if they've been on a God team the whole time or they've suddenly switched. I'm like, no, baby, God is not on your team. You chose the devil. And I'm not gonna let the devil in, no, never. I'm not gonna let the devil win, no, never. If you're feeling worried, that's the devil at work. I swear to God, I'ma put him in the dirt. Well, let me tell you something. When they would not leave me alone, after being exposed for what particular fillers and injectables that they use, all of a sudden, I woke up one day hearing Stephen Nightingale. I'm like, Stephen Nightingale? Who's that? So I Google it. Wouldn't you know? It's a doctor about a 40-minute away who specifically does cosmetic procedures and specifically uses those fat loss machines and Juvederm for fillers. I told you. I'm psychic, and they're just stupid. End of that discussion. somebody's like, and they're older than you and they've been copying from you. If they were really connected, they wouldn't need to do that. They shouldn't. Exactly. That's a fraud. It's a false practitioner. That's a grifter. That's a scammer. End of that discussion. You know what's also funny? Some of them have tried to call on very powerful beings, spirit beings, and energies, or even deities and things to attack me. First of all, the dark realm fears me and or respects me and doesn't have the power to overthrow me. If any of those dark energies try, I put them in their place consistently. That's why they're afraid and why they respect me. But I also have the divine support of the light side. They're super mad about the truth coming out. You make me look bad. No, you made you look bad. I just didn't let you step on me to do it or help you cover it up. Which is precisely what you tried to do. You tried to use me as a stepping stone and then got mad when you looked like the asshole when I dusted my shoulders off and you fell right on your fucking face. I told you that when you try to use people as stepping stones, you will eventually inevitably lose your balance, especially when you're pretending to have divine support when you never did in the first place. Crazy. So, as far as the ancestral lineage and what have you goes, can you return that to sender now? She's so mad. She's sending nasty chakra attacks, also heart attacks. So it's like wanting to like stab people in the back kind of an energy, but in the heart chakra. Yeah, there it is. Trying to press messages up against the medulla oblongata, so the back of the neck, basically. So somebody who wants either me to shut up or they want me to speak only what they want me to speak or whatever it is. I hear, don't say my name. Oh, bitch, I'm not saying your name. You know why? Because I will not be giving you clout. You know who you are. And frankly, so does the federal government. And the attorney generals and the district attorneys. You're going to prison, ma'am. That's the end of that discussion. You should have cut it out. You should have quit while you thought you were ahead. You should have gone to therapy instead of investing in all the theft and fabrications that you did. It sounds like you've got borderline personality disorder or something going on. You wouldn't be copying me like that if you didn't. Or some kind of narcissistic mirroring. You have some issues, lady. Seek help. But anyway, these karmics, in particular, this cult leader that they've been grouping up with, which I think says a lot about all of them. You have to siphon from all those people to be powerful as a cult leader, first of all. That's because you're a vampire. And they have to work with you and amongst themselves to try to target one single me. I am one woman. And it took all of you, mostly a bunch of grown men, so-called grown men, to come after me. What does that say about my strength and your puss-ass weakness? A lot. Everything, in fact. Don't you think? You all had to group up together against me. You're weak. 4422. But some of these people have been calling on my ancestors. This particular person who's been copying me has a tattoo on her body of one of my past lives. So that's why she's obsessed with me, whether she knows it or not. She's been posting about calling on other deities to try to attack me, but those are my ancestral lineage family members. Now, I still am in that family now. Bloodline. And in some cases, those deities, those beings, those past life energies that she's calling on, that was me, whether she knows it or not. So she called on my own highest self, my own spirit, to try to attack me, and then wondered why she caught karma for it. And she's going to continue to to catch karma for it. This is somebody who ganged up against me, was someone who went to jail for domestically abusing me over a decade ago, pled guilty to it, but now tries to convince people it didn't happen. Well, his criminal record speaks otherwise. They all just bank on nobody listening to me or spending $35 to buy that record to check the facts. But I've got news for you. Sing like the birds. Yeah, well, I've got news for you. Sing like a canary. I'll throw you all under the bus for trying to use me as a stepping stone. You know why? Because they tried to destroy my child's life to do it, and that's a fucking no-no. She is hellfire and she is holy water. Just started to rain. You're welcome. Storm angel, you picked the wrong one, honey. Zadkiel. The flavor you taste depends on how you decide to treat her first. Hell hath no fury like a mother scorned, and you should be very afraid of the woman with nothing left to lose. You know why? Because you have everything to lose, and I have everything to gain. By the truth coming out. And it already has. Checkmate. So she was calling on you to attack you. Yes, like an idiot, like a dumb, fake psychic, a grifter. Somebody who was real would know better than that. She also claims to be a past life regressionist, amongst other things. And if she was, she would remember that she had tried to attack me like this in other lives, in pretty much identical ways, for similar jealous reasons. But she doesn't. I remember who I was in that life. I can give you an exact date. I can tell you when I died and when I was born in that life. She ran a cult in that one and was jealous of my gifts in that one and tried to have people attack me and gang up against me. Voodoo was a big part of that culture and lifestyle and lifetime. So, of course, they felt comfortable trying to play in that shit again. I was superior to them in that one, too. I could access higher levels of elevation and divinity than they could in that life. And then anything that was of any kind of darker variety or questionable, I released and continued to elevate in the next lives. They did not. They're still running that same, was it the 1800s? That same bullshit. She doesn't remember doing this before because she's not a real past life regressionist. I do because I am. I know what she did. I know who I was. She just came into this life still trying to throw punches, not cognitively necessarily at all, realizing that there's a past life tie here or what she's done or any of those things. But there's something in her stomach. There's something that bothers her about me or makes her jealous about me, or there's some kind of, what it is pre-existing vendetta. So they don't necessarily cognitively remember while they chase people through the lives that that's what they're doing as a human in the next life. But it's familiar for them to bully someone in this life. It feels comfortable, normal, familiar to them in this life. Why? Because they spent the last one doing the same thing, likely to the same person if they chase them through the lives. And that does happen. Let me give you an example. Empress Josephine. She was mistreated. She was lied about. She was gossiped about and slandered. Her children were held hostage from her. She was falsely imprisoned for her, unfortunately, her husband's crimes, even though she was forced to marry him. She didn't. It was a forced arranged marriage, and then she was abused, had money held over her head and leveraged over her head. These patterns kept playing out because, well, he did this before. So he was arrested for his crimes, not just against her, but France, in fact. They called him the Terror King. He was a terrorist of France, not just to this woman and her children, but when he was arrested for his crimes, she was a woman who had little to no legal resources or say. So she went to the people who were in charge of his captivity and said, look, I understand that he's in there, and you know, he's done these crimes that you're saying that he's doing, and I get that, but I'm a woman who still needs to be able to feed my children, and as a woman, I can't access that money without you either letting him out to do that for me or giving me the reins to do that myself. So I need to be able to feed my kids. Please let me have some of these resources to feed my children. And they said, oh, you're his wife. Well, fuck you. We'll lock you up too because he's an asshole. And they did, unfortunately. Now, she was being sent to the guillotine with him. About 3 days before they were both supposed to go, she was freed because people who had the power to do nothing, to do something about the situation, who were choosing to do nothing about it, were scolded by people who knew that they were doing nothing about it, even though it was their job's obligation, morally and otherwise, to fix the problem. In fact, there was one politician, basically, who had a wife that was really fond of this empress, this future empress, and she went and she lit up one side of him, down the other. She gave him an earful. Said, you go fix that. You go get her out. You know she doesn't belong there. And he did. He was given a very, 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 very beneficial financial blessing. Once Josephine was out, she met Napoleon. She became the Empress of France. And then eventually she went to a show of one of these people who helped maneuver her to safety. She handed him a pouch full of coins, francs. I believe they were francs of some kind, and supported his artistry, but just quietly, while shaking his hand, slid a pocket full of change or coins or francs or something into his hand. And today's equivalent, if I recall, I think it would have been about $100,000 or something. It was a substantial amount. It was, well, he was comfortable after that. Let me just tell you that. He didn't have to work. He chose to be a thespian. 5252. But nonetheless, she was freed. He was guillotined a few days later. But he was legitimately caught up. Like, he caught a case in the midst of trying to terrorize not only France, but Josephine. Was thrown in jail, thought that he could take her down with him, but then she escaped and he was guillotined. She was set free because of her innocence, and he was guillotined. So he came back through another life to try to target her. Why? Because, well, he felt like his reign of terror. That's what they called him, the Terror King. It's called the Reign of Terror in France. Google it. The Terror King felt like he wasn't done terrorizing people, that his reign of terror had been cut short by getting caught up with the law. So he had a vendetta against this feminine, followed her through the lives, continued to repeat these cycles, from the hostage situations to messing with her money, attacking her based on spirituality, or trying to force her into a convent, one or the other of the extremes. Either ganging up on her with a cult or trying to force her into a convent. Either way. Either end of the extremes. Right. In that life, it was trying to force her into a convent. In this life, it was trying to force her into a psych ward because she believes in spirituality. I'm like, bitch, pick one. Freaking nitwit. All right. So it makes sense. He has no authority. Can't run away from his crimes. Cannot cause doubt in people. Was not able to distract the light workers. We know what's going on. And that's why we have true power. Yep, look. Last one. And they're blocked out. For many blessings in our lives as well. see one more deck. And then I'll do a little Reiki before I go. I do have some other things I need to take care of first before I come back today. I just heard Biggie, the name Biggie. I'm telling you, there's something with this P. Diddy thing and Biggie and what was it that I heard? Busta Rhymes I heard today. Something about it. You have an important life purpose involving communication. Please don't allow insecurities to hold you back. So like I said, they cannot block or distract people. I'm still here. I still have truth to speak. What did I say about the money? Told you. I am the angel of abundance. You will receive the money that you need, and God is in charge of how that will happen, so have faith. When you take excellent care of yourself, everybody benefits. Give yourself a relaxing treat today, such as a massage, a sea salt bath, or a pedicure. I took one of those last night before going to bed. I'm about to go run through the shower again, in fact. Grand Rising, 5722. There's nothing we can do to stop her. No, there never was. You gaslighted yourself into thinking that. Some of these karmics thought that they could steal people's blessings. Now, you might have put a block in the timeline. You might have extended the timeline a little bit, but you don't have to chase what is not for you. What is yours is yours. If you have to manipulate, lie, cheat, steal, bully, berate, etc. to get something that is for you, that you think is for you, it's not yours. If it's not authentic and you're not organically aligning with it, then it's not yours. If you've got to force and manipulate and plot and trick and maneuver, that is trying to force destiny, meaning you're trying to force your big feet in Cinderella's glass slippers, and then you wonder why your feet hurt and they don't fit. Cut it out. I'm so excited for Halloween. So excited. I'm loving the rain. I hear Heartbroken by Jesse Murph. Used to pray for rain just to stay inside. Wouldn't you believe it? Every move I make, I was terrified. Thought that every road I hit had a bitter ending. Trying to make a river run upstream. Trying to make a mountain. Can you crank that up, please? A mountain move to a valley. That's what your love does to me. You make me feel. There it is. Thank you. Like I never had my heart broken. Like I never heard the door closing. Like I've never watched love run away on fire in the night like a pack of wild horses. like I never felt the tears rolling, like I never said here's to hoping. I finally found a love who's real, who can make me feel wide open. I just picked up another song. You need to slow down a little bit, please. Thank you. Just trying to find a love who's real, who can make me feel wide open. There's another one from Jessie Murph, I believe. She says, yeah, he's got me wide, wide open. There it is. And at 3,500, and he's pushing about 102. I got a thing for the wild ones, and they like me too. I hear that. You know, I've also been hearing this one for a few days. There was just a divine masculine who said, gorgeous, she's gorgeous. I've been hearing ex-ambassadors gorgeous on and off for a few days. It's because I've been quietly sitting on that message from this, this divine masculine, but there it goes again. You're so gorgeous, and you make me feel gorgeous. And nobody understands you, 'cause you are nothing they can handle. Every man you put your hands on, you make him feel so goddamn handsome. Oh, I feel so pretty whenever you're around. 10 feet off the ground. You're so gorgeous, and you make me feel gorgeous. Oh, I just got full body chills. Like goosebumps, angel waves. Zero complaints. That's interesting. That's a new one. I just heard Mandarin Reiki. Okay. I got a flash of orange, solar plexus. Sacral chakra, rather. Seems to be a sacral energy. Oh, you know what? I was craving... Oh. Yeah, I was craving orange juice last night. I made some lemonade. I have oranges in the fridge too, but I got this vitamin C kick. So we talked all night about the rest of our lives. Where we gonna be when we turn 25? Keep thinking time will never end. Keep on thinking things will always stay the same. That's what these karmics thought. When we leave this year, we won't be coming back. No, they're going to prison. There's no more hanging out because we're on a different track. Yeah, I'd say so. So if you got something that you need to say, you better say it right now, because we don't have another day. Because we're moving on and we can't slow it down. These memories are fading like a film without sound. Keep thinking of the night in June. I didn't know much love, but it came too soon. And this is how it feels. As we go on, we remember all the times we had together. And as our lives change, come whatever, we will still be friends forever. La 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 la. Cheers. Oh, excuse me. That's a good one. So the sacral Reiki is a reference of creativity. It also was moving a bit up into the solar plexus. So references of willpower, abundance, self-respect, love, confidence, creativity, action-oriented movement, positive ideas, and processing. So one of the seats of the soul, the willpower. Emphasis on this. Also, they've been trying to, I've been picking it up the last few days, target the womb space of the divine feminine. They're criminals, karmics, witches, people who fancy themselves wicked witches. I just heard witches, but I almost said Wicca, I think. And they don't want the light workers coming together. They don't want high vibrational, spirit babies being born. They don't want the light workers to have families, partially out of jealousy, partially they feel like we will outshine them, which, let's be real, we already do, even alone, standing alone. Like I said before, it took all of them to come up against one me. What does that say? Even just in my case alone. A lot more about me than it does about them. It just doesn't say anything good about them. Can't relate. Fortunately, but guess what? I cannot relate to them because that was a personal choice. Everything that they're okay with being, like corrupt shitbags, yeah, I made a distinct, deliberate point to be the polar opposite of that. It was a personal choice. And now that's their personal pickle. Cheers. So bottom line is, their intention is to mess up the ability for divine feminine to conceive. Yes, within her own body, but also to conceive an idea, to conceive some kind of blessing that helps you put some kind of plan, positive plan or structure into action. They're hoping to block your manifestations, your movement forward, your health also. This is somebody who doesn't want you to take charge of your life, have self-discipline to regulate yourself, because then you overcome whatever challenges that they try to create. And they feel like, again, you outshine them. This is just somebody who wants you to either die or stay stuck in the dirt that they tried to throw on you or throw you in while trying to knock you out at the knees. That is a no for me. That's why you're a scummy, bummy bottom feeder, and you'll be nothing more, nothing less. Actually, that's not true. They could be less, but they will never be more. Actually, no. God says, no, they've hit that rock bottom. You really can't go lower than these karmics, and that's why there's no coming back from that for them. Anything else? That very quick paced, high speed, high energy. That's very solar plexus sacral. Divine Masculine says they were just catty with her and she's classy, sassy, and a whole lot smart assy. Correct. Sir? He says, my name is Babe. My name is not Sir, my name is Babe. That's cute. Okay, babe. That's better. That's really cute. I'm not mad. Pet names were a dream thing this morning. Oh, goodness gracious. My name is Babe. How can you be upset with that? It's so cute. It's so cute. Oh, my cheeks hurt. You make me smile. I'm not complaining. Oh. Because they're jerks. I don't know what else to tell you. No. Yeah, that's right. Demons, devils, he says. Yeah, more suiting. probably sounded out of context. It was. I didn't articulate what he said. I was just responding out loud. Okay. Ah, okay. I was a little confused. They're saying two things, tree form and free form. Like, what are you talking about? But basically, they're talking about having very anchored roots and a very solid, sturdy trunk. The bones, house won't fall if the bones are good. Yeah, the paint could peel and the glass could shatter. The rest won't matter, let it rain. You and I will remain the same. Can you crank that volume up a little bit? It's a little bit hard to hear the pitch when you're sending that second song in, and slow down, please. You and I remain the same. Thank you. It'll blow right over while we stay, but the house won't fall if the bones are good. So there's a reference in that, the strength. I'm picking up something about spinal strength as well, but strength and sovereignty. So standing tall, like a tree, but free form, also being flexible, kind of like a willow, right? The tree is sturdy, the trunk itself is sturdy, but the willow branches themselves are very flexible. Same thing with bamboo. They're very sturdy, but they're also quite flexible. So bottom line, this is to help you stay balanced instead of being bullied into being pushed over, pushover energy, while also being flexible, still going with the flow. And I'm not saying being flexible with these criminals or these karmics, but with yourself and your own movement and your routine. Like, you stand hard in that sturdy, solid boundary, right? If you say, no, karmics, I will not let you in, I will not let you cause harm to me, or A, B, and C, then stand tall in that. But also be flexible in regards to your own surroundings. So if there's some kind of block or issue that a karmic has created, okay, well, what can you focus on? If there's something that is out of your control, or, right, like a tree doesn't just uproot itself and then move a few blocks down because it doesn't like the spot that it's in. That's the analogy I'm getting. Although if some people will be moving, so if that's the case, then this is not applicable here. But it can blow in the wind, right? It still has flexibility. The branches sway, the leaves blow. It's just very sturdy. You can still maneuver around. You can still get stuff done in your environment. You can still take care of whatever it is that you can take care of, even while your feet are planted, so to speak. But there is movement happening here. And again, sometimes a tree doesn't just lift itself out of the ground and move itself, but tree transport is a very lucrative business in the landscaping industry, so it's not like it doesn't happen. But there's just a time and a place, and it's regulated. There's a level of balance for high purpose and schedule. Recalibrating your life, that's what this is. Good. If there is anything that's feeling hollow, I keep hearing heavy the last couple days by Lincoln Park, Chester Bennington. Especially feeling in like this hollow feeling in the pit of like the sacral solar plexus area between that and the heart, that's a space of self-love that needs to be filled for a number of people I'm picking up. There it is. We'll do some heart chakra Reiki. There it is. So they're also trying to target the heart, or it's being affected. They're trying to affect it by, oh, that makes sense. So if they think that they can mess with your feelings of safety and your feelings of free will, then they feel like those lower chakras, solar plexus, sacral, then they feel like they can block you from being able to access the higher chakra, right? So if you're afraid to move on from these karmics or get out of their line of fire, then it's like also subsequently being afraid of moving into a space of love or connecting with a counterpart or something. So by hitting those lower chakras, they want to keep you from being able to access the higher ones, is pretty much that. It's being cleared out, so it's not working, but only on the people that allow it, right? If you embody this energy, if you go with it, if you stop applying yourself, you stop taking care of yourself, your projects, your own environments, that's what they want. So yeah, if you give that to them, but as long as you continue to move forward and you know what's going on, so you don't fall for that, you don't give in to that, even if the energy arises, clear it out instead, you're good. I can help you with that. I can help clear the energy, but you have to make that conscious choice, right? It would be like me, can you give me a clear example? It would be like me telling me that you're allergic to something and me helping you clear it out of your system, and then you going back to buy another one and then immediately consuming it. Like you have to still keep that, you have to make the choice to keep that alignment and keep that level of balance, clarity. Otherwise you slip right back into it. Actions speak louder than words, basically, is what it is. Actions over the energy. Because what is an action but energy put into action, into some kind of form? It started out as an idea. It's about perception and manifestation. More specifically, that perception affects the manifestation. I don't like my mind right now. Heard. I'm holding on. Why is everything so heavy? If I just put down what's been dragging me down, if I just let it go, I'll be set free. Holding on. Why is everything so heavy? Learn to love your mind right now. Not everything has to be so scary. Here, let's get rid of the fear and just be merry. MERRY. Happy, joyous, joyful, cheerful. Something about Christmas. I'm picking up something about Christmas. Oh, okay. I'm being called to be quiet about that for now, but no, Christmas. I'll get into that later when I'm called to speak, but not right now. Not to keep things from the light workers, but this is one of those, let me protect you from the karmic energies, because they're looking to find out what's going on. I know, I just saw what's up. And I'll tell you, when I'm called to, maybe a few weeks, maybe a month or so, whenever I'm called to do so. But by that point, nothing that I tell you, they won't be able to do anything about it. They will not be able to destroy anything. They will not be able to interrupt anything. By then, it'll just be a message of a blessing for the light workers. But the karmics won't have any say or any kind of pull. They won't be around to try to stuff people's blessings and happiness up. And if they are around on some level, they're restricted, banned, cut off. So it's not like they can bother you anyway. Some blessings coming through around Christmas for some. I'm not talking about Christmas gifts and stuff like that. I mean, could be for some people in some cases, but that's not what this is. It's bigger than that. Yeah, somebody was like, what do you mean? You'll get Christmas gifts that I like? No, it's not about the Christmas or the gifts. It's about the timeline. It's around Christmas. It's the timeline for some big blessings. Stay focused and stay steady. That's all I'm being clear to tell you right now. It's worthwhile. Just saw karmic. See, they're trying to take my words and twist them out of context to apply them to their dark, twisted things. By stay focused, I do not mean stay focused on trying to focus on a light worker and try to figure out how you can target them and take them out. No, that's what you're in trouble for. I'm telling my light workers to stay focused in regards to not falling for temptations, in regards to having self-belief and faith and movement forward, in regards to applying themselves and not getting distracted or tempted by karmic energies or put into a place of lack or stagnancy by fear-based energies. And there's a difference. But I got you guys. Don't worry about it. I'll be back. I won't keep anything from you that you need to know. I'm just sometimes called to be quiet about certain things. They can't mess up what they don't know about. And the details aren't specifically important to the light workers yet. Just know you have things to look forward to, so don't give up. That's the core message. More of the details will come out. Right. They're saying you don't give your bank account information to karmics. It's kind of what this is. It's not necessarily, it might be for some people about resources or money, but not necessarily at all about those things. But similarly speaking, there's some kind of thing that's for you. It's yours. It's just for you. It's not for a karmic. If they were to have this information, similarly to if they were to have your bank account information or your, goodness gracious, your social security number or something, they would steal from you. They would abuse it. They would file some kind of fraud. They would do something to mess your life up, take your blessings. So It is not to keep things from the light workers. There it is. Okay. The message for the light workers, the analogy is it's like a bank processing your information and setting up an account or something, metaphorically speaking, so that they can get you a bank account number. But this is the time period where it's like, you know that the bank is being, you know that your account is being set up, or you know that you've wanted an account, but it's not quite finished, so you don't actually have a physical number that you can enter into whatever tax things that you have or need, or any other pay stuff or whatever it is. But it's coming. So you don't need those numbers right now, because it's still, they're finishing getting things organized and setting things up for you. They just want you to know. I just felt 8622, my twin flame, put his hand in my hand. Just started to tinkle too. I was holding it out like this. I just happened to be talking with my hands and holding it out like this, and he went like this. It was just holding it out in the air. Talking. I'm not complaining. No, clear that karmic energy out. That's gross. Thank you. So that's also relevant, that hand-holding energy. That's what they want you to know. You are supported. You do have help. You are not alone. You have blessings coming, right? You will be getting a hand in the situation, so to speak. There's support or some kind of blessing, gift. Multiple in some cases. In plenty of people's cases, in fact. But just wait. Maybe they're not quite there yet. If it's in regards to connecting with a person, like traveling, vice versa, or crossing paths with your counterpart, but they're on the way. That's the message. And or maybe that bank account's not finished being set up yet, metaphorically speaking, but it's in process, so don't worry. And maybe you can't see that person yet, but you're not alone. I want to hold your hand. I want to hold your hand. Oh, please say to me, you let me be your man. And please say to me, you let me hold your hand. I want to hold your hand. I want to hold your hand. When you touch me, I feel happy inside. It's just a loving feeling I can't hide. I can't hide. I can't hide. Divine Feminine says, and he wants to hold my hand. So I let him hold my hand. That's really cute. You have support. That's the message. That's the purpose of letting light workers know in advance. You might not be able to see it, but it's coming, so don't give up. And they can't mess up what they don't know about. There's a they don't like this truth coming out. There's also a message of light workers. Sometimes the holy team has to give things in increments, because they know if they give too much information about what's ahead sometimes for some people. They will get caught up in some kind of outcome and not actually put the action, the effort, or the focus into whatever their daily tasks and routines are and or have been in order to get to that point. Like if they're at point A and they're being shown point B, then they'll focus on, you know, why isn't point A looking like point B? Because you're not there yet. So finish doing that work or finishing off whatever cycles are there. It'll depend for different people. Stay steady. Don't give up. Somebody's asking about stay focused, the message of stay focused. Okay, so for example, it might seem like you're alone, but it's like a divine masculine's right around the corner. Your divine masculine's right around the corner, divine feminine, or vice versa. But guess what? So are karmics trying to trick you, tempt you, lure you, distract you, steer you off path just before you turn the corner to your twin. But if you ignore them and you see through it and you don't fall for settling for things that are no longer for you, that don't vibrate with you, that you know are not good for you, then you don't choose those. And it's as simple as that. Passing a test is as simple as that. But some people are very tempted people and they don't seem to care about the consequences, or that you know, going off to party with some friends or whatever it is, instead of choosing a loving connection, could cost them that loving connection permanently. The party ends, they realize it really wasn't all that it was cracked up to be. Look at Diddy in jail, for example. Just got a flash of that. But then it's too late to go back. If I could turn back time. I hear, yeah, well, they can't. 92:16. If I can find a way. Well, they can't. Because if that's what they did, contract dissolved. Okay. I hear Passport Home. Also, Closer by J.P. Cooper. And that there's a Reiki coming through for specifically that, to draw in what is for you, who is for you. And only that, as well as, thank you, discernment, Reiki, having discernment to be able to tell the difference between the two. Talk to God. Talk to God like every single day. Call for divine intervention. Also that you see very clearly any tests or lessons or temptations or whatever it is for what they are, and that you can be guided to clear through those in a healthy way, pass those tests, not fall for any pitfalls or temptations. For starters, you still have to do the work, but you can ask for help and guidance and support. As long as you're in upright alignment. I see karmics trying to do this to get themselves out of trouble, but what they're doing is praying for God to pretend like they didn't just hurt a bunch of light workers and not make them deal with their karma, and then they get mad at God because their prayers of not being in trouble for their karma don't work. But that's not how that works. They're not sorry. They're not learning their lesson. They're asking the Father of divine children to forgive them for the consequences of the, please don't punish me for bullying your child, is what they're asking. And God says, I don't answer to you. You should have left my kids alone. For starters. 94:22. There's a karmic male trying to laugh at this, but really he's feeling quite sweaty and threatened. Don't you know, I wish I was closer. I can feel you watching over. If you're too small to see, put you on my shoulder. I wanna be there in the morning, when the sunlight hits the blinds, or something like that. And when you to see you smiling when you're yawning. And if you ever need me, call me. I wanna make sure you're alright. I don't wanna be so far from home. Don't you know I'll be, I wish I was closer. You can feel me watching over. Something like that. He also says, you're my passport home, my guiding light. Be the lighthouse. You let your weird little light shine, so all your other weirdos know how to find you. That's why karmics try to throw dirt on people or make them feel bad about themselves so that they hide themselves or they feel like they can't be themselves. You know why? It's because they're threatened by your authenticity. They feel like you outshine them. They feel dull and lacking in vibrancy. They feel like they are gray in color in comparison, that they are undesirable and unwantable. I hear unlovable in comparison to you. So they would rather project those things that they feel they lack or that are on themselves onto you. They're hoping to throw dirt on you because they're looking to dim your light. They think if they dim your light, maybe you won't shine as brightly, more specifically, that they won't look as dull in comparison. In some cases, this is why they try to bury people, right? The holes they dig for people, metaphorically speaking, because they don't want your light to shine at all, especially when they have none. How does a gray blob shine? It doesn't. So it feels like any illumination or any light is too bright. These people are weird. They're dark. Interesting. I've never ever heard this before, but they just said shoehorn, like shoehorn Reiki. I know what they're talking about if you don't know what I'm talking about. It's a little strange, the reference. Well, that makes sense. I talk to God every single day. I've always been a little strange. Yeah, well, there's that. Weirdo brigade. Woo! Shoehorn is something often people that are older, like elderly people, use if they need help getting their shoe on. It's something that they hold in one hand and then they stick in their shoe and then slide their heel into, I think, or their foot into. Basically, it helps open the shoe up and give them leverage without having to bend down so far or hurt themselves trying to put their shoes on or fall over or something. But if that's what this Reiki energy is about, you're getting support in doing something that might have been a little bit more challenging, even if it's only because you've been injured or something like that, or put in a degree of a hole or a bad position. This is like somebody helping pull you out, somebody helping make that task a little bit easier, or developing a tool to help you do so. Now, when this is applied in situations, this could be people coming through to help you resolve a problem, people having resources and tools that can help you maybe end a cycle or create a positive new situation more effectively. I'm seeing something about also helping you lock the door behind you so that those, even if they wanted to try to cross you through this new gateway, this portal, this threshold, this new beginning, they couldn't. It's locked. They can't anyway, but it's still locked, or it will be, but not until you go through. As long as you stay on track and alignment, stay on course, I hear. Yep. There's a karmic who says, I'm going to get her for that. I'm going to get divine feminine for that, but he's not. He's going to get himself in trouble by not leaving her alone. Sounds like he's tunnel visioned on bloodlust. I hear he is. He's bloodthirsty, and I hear he's not going to let up either until he ends up in jail or he's dead. I see a police officer shooting somebody, even if it's something like that, like a standoff with the police or something. He says, if I'm going to go, I'm going to take you with me. So this sounds like somebody, sounds like a narcissist. Ooh, my stomach just dropped. Who's got a vendetta towards a divine feminine. And this is one of those psychos who feels like if he can't have her, then he doesn't want anyone else to have her. And this is one of those people who, if they're in trouble or if they feel like they're going to be in a spot, then like if he feels like if he's locked up or he's going to be taken out or something like that, then he should take her out. That's really sketchy, delusional thinking, but okay. I don't accept that, but there it is. Yeah, Divine Masculine says, no wonder people don't like him. Precisely, dude. My name is Babe. Babe. Precisely, babe. Okay. 101.22. He says, I'm not one of the bros. My name is Babe. Gotta give credit where it's due, babe. Okay. It's really actually kind of adorable. I'm not mad. He says you shouldn't be because I'm kind of joking, but I'm also serious. Oh, I know. That's why I'm laughing, but also okay. Honored and respected. Heard. I got you. Okay. There's sovereignty Reiki coming through, and then serenity Reiki as well. Serenity is in regards to the saline content for some. So in regards to salt water, it's more buoyant. Like the Dead Sea, for example, it's so salty there that you float on the top of the water, basically. Animals can't live there. It's too salty, and the water's basically not dense enough. It's too buoyant, or it makes animals too buoyant. It's also just too salty, but so that's one. There's a proper balance point within regards to saline in the ocean, yes, but also within the human body. And there may be, actually, absolutely, I made miso last night. I was planning to make some other, either salmon rolls or possibly onigiri, salmon onigiri. I don't know what I'll do. We'll see. The recipe will pretty much be the same. The only difference will be the shape and the style of how I do it. That's really the difference. However, more so, this is even about mentally, emotionally, energetically, and even within the body, yes. The reference of having a balanced level of saline solution, the energy of that, where it's at optimal pH, it's at optimal salinity levels, having your emotions more regulated and stable instead of at a peak of either end. Too salty, not salty enough. And then this kind of bridges into, but it's the energy of balance. That's what the emphasis is. But this bridges into the karmics, and these are salty people. If somebody is salty, they're butthurt, they're cranky, they're a sore loser, I hear. Like the karmic males, the fallen masculines or karmic males who are mad that they can't have divine feminine back after they only lost access to her because they mistreated her, they're salty. They're if they're jealous of and mad at divine masculine, it's only because they look up to him. They wish that they could be with divine feminine, and they're mad and jealous that he is. So really, they're inspired by him, but because they're inspired by him and they know that they can't be him, can't beat him, can't compete with him, cannot be with her, they feel like he supersedes them. He's superior. He's the shinier light in this energy. And so that inspiration and the realization and recognition that he is his own person and they are not him sets in. And then that turns to jealousy, and that jealousy turns to anger, and that anger turns to hatred, and that hatred turns to usually some kind of vendetta in targeting a victim. And sometimes they do it over and over again, and they do it for so long they genuinely don't even remember why they're doing this or where it started. You do, when all of a sudden somebody started combating you out of random jealousy. But they don't. They, like, if somebody asked them, typically speaking, in most cases, what their issue with you was, they wouldn't really have one other than the little things that they try to nitpick about you out of this jealousy. But it's because they didn't have a reason. It started out of inspiration that immediately turned to hostility through the process of jealousy and then hatred based on envy and greed. They're salty, to put it simply. You're like a can of old tuna. Ew! Ew. That's gross. But I thought it was funny because I made this dashi stock last night. And then I made miso soup with that. I made bone broth last week. I made dashi stock with the bone broth last night. And then I turned that into miso soup. That was the process. But it's very flavor deep. It's got a lot of profile. Not mad about it. Worth the effort. It's also very nutritious. These are the types of things, especially in Asia, that pregnant women are, I mean, a lot of people eat these all the time there, but there's a very specific, pretty strict regimen and routine in regards to the Asian culture of how they nourish pregnant women who've just delivered. And usually they have a routine of a few specific dedicated meals a day consistently, and one of them is a seaweed soup for recovery. Some kind of seaweed or like miso soup. They have a couple of them. Darling, don't you Livingston royalty, I hear it. Darling, don't you hide, I won't let them kill your light. Don't hide. You don't have to hide your light to protect it. Don't hide. Be your own weird little self. Be the lighthouse. Darling, don't you hide, I won't let them kill your light. through all the days and nights, your royalty. Ooh. There's that nervous system reset. Ooh. Okay, there's another heart chakra Reiki. This is new. And then union Reiki, heartfelt Reiki, they said. So this is the ability to go deeper in your heart center, emotionally connecting. And then union Reiki, so also for the purpose of being able to, yes, having the discernment and being able to call out these karmic energies sternly, sharply, comically in some cases, if necessary, depending on the situation and the variables, but not staying stuck in that defensive energy. It might keep you safe from karmics, but it can be harder to connect with love or receive love otherwise. So we're going to keep our hearts open instead. Ease of embodiment, I hear. So being able to be and stay in this energy more effectively, more easily, as well as draw in, manifest other people also in this energy. But again, being unafraid and okay with setting those healthy boundaries when you recognize that somebody is not that. Yeah, you can't buy her. Sometimes the trauma bonders, the love bombers and the trauma bonders, they will try to use money or gifts or giving to try to convince people that they're good people. Now, there's nothing wrong with generosity, absolutely not. Quite the opposite, in fact. But then there are some people in the world who try to convince people that they're good because of what their perceived generosity it is. Those are the types of people who go around only giving stuff to homeless people so that they can record it and put it online. They're not actually trying to do a good deed. They're trying to get attention on the internet. That type of a thing, it's not genuine. My heart chakra just tensed. There's ulterior motive there. You know? Like somebody trying to give you a gift so that you trust them enough to let them in, but only so that they can stab you in the heart or the back. That's not somebody who's loving. They had dark intentions and ulterior motive. That was pretend. 11:11. But not everybody's like that. For some people, one of their love languages could easily be gift giving. You know, different people have a combination of different love languages, and some people have stronger ones than others. For me, words of affirmation are important. Communication, I'm big on communication. That's one. Quality time spent is another big one. I also am a gift giver as a form of expressing love. I like to cook also and give people stuff like that. So if there is, let's say that there's a person who doesn't place those things as important, and communication or words of affirmation aren't really a big thing for them. The person who has a love language of words of affirmation isn't going to be able to all right, maybe let's say there's a masculine and then there's a feminine. The masculine, his love language is gift giving, but hers is words of affirmation. He might, make dinner or bring her gifts or flowers or something like that, and that's great. But then if he shuts down and doesn't really communicate and kind of isolates himself and just leaves her to it, she's going to wonder, she's going to feel some kind of way, unloved, confused. Did I do something wrong? Like, what is this? Did he do something wrong? Is that why he gave me flowers? They don't feel like there's love there, or they feel like there's an issue, because communication is a big form of love language for them. Maybe this is because this is a person who was made to feel some kind of way when they were growing up. Maybe people were unloving to them. Maybe they did not express that love to them. And so this person knows what it feels like to not hear those things, or not, have somebody be that to you. And so they try to give that and be that to others, and they don't understand why they don't receive it back. Or if they don't receive it back, they think like maybe that person doesn't love them. Meanwhile, the person who's coming home with dinner and bringing flowers and things like that, their love language is gift giving. So they think that they're telling their partner, the feminine in this, that they love them by bringing them gifts. But the feminine thinks, because they're not communicating, that the masculine doesn't love them anymore. And so they're speaking different languages, basically. And it's important to understand these things. When you understand these things, you can also start to bridge and adjust, and or just more easily interpret that love. If it's not a match, it's not a match. And that's okay. But in some cases, it's just a matter of understanding. Delray and I had the same love languages, though. I remember. It's quite beautiful when they're the same and you speak the same language. Cheers. Right, communication is key, says the words of affirmation lady. 11822. But it is, even just on the introductory aspect of like, what is each person's love language, so that they can understand each other. Whether there are words or not, that communication is key, especially even just to understand sometimes unspoken communication. Let me give you an example. I've seen this before. Divine masculine and divine feminine, very, very open in verbal communication, very honest, very loving. And as a result of having such a good connection, their spirits are super deeply bonded, and vice versa. So the telepathy is actually fire, all right? But when they stop communicating as much and like actually connecting on the physical, when they stop, this is a couple who was living together, when they stop being as vocal with each other and just assume that the other one will know, or that they will be on the same page, without actually putting in that human bond and connection as deeply or as much, they start noticing that they're misaligned. Maybe they have got some miscommunications, but it's because they didn't communicate and they just assumed that they would consistently be on track. But you have to do, you have to do things to stay on track. And I just got another flash. This is like, there are people in the world who will put on a show, put on a mask, put on a face, to try to lure people towards them, or they'll court somebody and they'll romance somebody and they'll put in their best efforts, their best foot forward to get that person. But when they have that person, they stop doing the things that they did to get that person in order to keep that person. And usually that's when things get bored and stale and the person feels like they were tricked or they are not loved anymore because, you know, this is somebody who pretended to be a good person, a partner, an equal, a homemaker type of a deal. But then the second or maybe this is a man who cooked for her at first, but then once they're married, he puts his feet up on the couch every night, gets a beer, and expects her to be in the kitchen and clean, and like polar opposite. Like they portrayed themselves as something they were not, like somebody who would invest into the connection or somebody who was an equal partner just to get it. And then the second they feel like that person is there, this came up last night too. I heard from a woman at one point that the father of her child at one point told her, well, I thought once I got you pregnant, I could treat you however I wanted because you couldn't leave. 121:36. So it's that kind of an energy. Not quite on the same level, but yes, like you still need to put in that quality time and effort with each other. You still need to, like those couples that have been together for a long time, that are lasting, those genuinely happy couples that are, you do see them, hear stories about them. They're not as common, but it's because they're still playful with each other, and they still go out on dates together, and they find new ways to fall in love with each other all the time as they grow together. And it's why they continue to grow together. That doesn't work if you're trying to force a connection that's not meant to be anyway, just so you know, to be clear, because I just picked that up. But even the best of connections, they still require that love, that focus. No connection is going to be all roses and peaches and cream. There are going to be, I hear the good times don't last, which is why you should focus on investing in a long time, not a good time, because then you can have good times with your long time. But the long time is going to be the one who you ride through the storms with. The good times, they're not. In fact, they're often the ones who start the storms or leave you hanging in them. Thank you very much. Welcome to my TED Talk. Congratulations for making it almost to the end. Happy Saturday. 123:33. Here, Turn Your Face Towards the Sun by Rihanna. Let the shadows fall behind you. Alright, that's good on the Reiki, but I did just see a flash. I've been seeing this for days, actually. I need to go take care of some things after this, but... Okay. I mentioned this last night. Hackers, gang stalkers, white-collar criminals, and doppelgangers assigned to bring you down by any means necessary. What I'm picking up with this deck, 1122. Some kind of dirty cop energy, or somebody trying to work with dirty cops because they want to try to falsely entrap or imprison a light worker because they're upset about the truth about something coming out. Maybe this is a whistleblower or something. Yeah.
I hear if people know what we did, we're going to get fired. So they'd rather target a victim. They will go missing once shit hits the fan and you find out it was them doing these evil things to you. Well, there's that. You want to tell me about this? Do you have anything else to say? Haters spreading lies, false rumors, assassinating your character, trying to cause you to have known and unknown enemies. Well, that's going to get them more karma. It doesn't matter if they believe in it. It believes in them. Stank bitch pulling on your energy. I mentioned that yesterday. They hate to see you shine. I told you that. And cleansing your home by burning sage or Palo Santo. Yeah, I told you. I lit some sage a little while ago. Just heard envious. They're envious. I hear also, why do you have to be so pretty? It's a karmic female, probably, towards a divine feminine. Take a break, pamper yourself, spend time with yourself, enjoy yourself, or pray. You have the victory. Be mindful of dark energies or entities being sent towards you. If you have unexplained like scratches or bruises, pray extra. Cleanse your energy, your home, your space. Call in Archangel Michael for protection. Yeah, your spiritual team, ancestors, spirit animals are showing you dreams, signs, and visions about your haters. Pay close attention and keep a log of those spiritual warnings. Outsiders attacking you could be coworkers, friends, a group of people that are hired by people close to you, family, friends, lover, ex-lover. But your spirit team sees all the bad things that they're doing and are not pleased. Haters have a price to pay. Yeah, I told you. Take a spiritual bath. I'm just about to go get in. Anything else? Someone close to you is trying to stab you. I told you. This just fell out and hit the floor. Someone close to you is trying to stab you in the back. I mentioned that. Somebody trying to just get close enough to you so they can stab you in the back or the heart. I told you that. They are trying to set you up to go to jail in any way that they can. And that's what I was picking up, trying to set somebody up for false imprisonment. Thank you. Be careful. I've had this deck out. I keep it in the cabinet over there. But I've had it out for the last week maybe. Yeah. I've had it out for the last week roughly because, well, the angels called me to pull it out. I don't use this one all the time, not very often. But I was called to pull it out. With probably 20 other decks. And when they do that, it tells me that there are some energies that are going to pop up through the week that I will need to use some cards for, and those, it's just a way of streamlining the focus so that the ones that I need are already right there. When the reading pops up off the cuff, I can do it really quickly instead of having to go search for cards, which takes a little bit longer sometimes. If I just do it in one swing, it can be easier. So that's how my team does it for me sometimes, and that's why. But I keep it in the drawer. It's been sitting there. I haven't used it for goodness, I want to say maybe like 6 months that I remember, give or take. But that doesn't surprise me. And obviously they knew that this was coming a week ago. I was just waiting for the energy to pop off. 1:30:06. Please remember to pray. do no harm, take no crap, and I'll catch you on the next one. Blessings and namaste.